Coach, let's talk about emotions. This is an emotional game. I would say this past weekend, I think there were 5 more than normal emotional games, okay? I think you look at Iowa's game, you look at Maryland's game, Michigan State's game, Penn State, and Nebraska, for one reason or another. The reason's not important, but I think those games were pretty emotional games for those teams. You're gonna have unbelievable great memories about your coaching career, but I wanna throw one bad memory out.
Why?
Because of the discussion of emotions.
We're good.
Because I don't know if there's any better example that I can think of is when you played Iowa in 17.
Right.
You're playing Penn State the week before. They're ranked 2. I believe you're ranked 6 at the time. You're going into the fourth quarter down. You win that game. Then you go to Iowa, you lose that game. Then you come back, and Michigan State comes to Columbus. They're ranked 12, and you beat them. It's a one-sided game. So the reason I bring the bad memory up is, let's talk about the emotion of the game from a head coach, assistant coach, family, team. Take us through that roller coaster.
Well, I think this is great conversation, and this is, you bring up one that was a perfect example, that we play Penn State in arguably one of the best comebacks in the great stadium's history. I think we're 3 scores down going into the fourth quarter, and JT Barrett completes 13 of 13 or 16 of 16, and we win the game. And in places like Columbus, you know, it's like you won the Super Bowl. And that's all that was going on. And you know, Iowa wasn't necessarily having a great year, but Iowa's Iowa now. We have very good players, tough place to play. We haven't been there in a long time, and I didn't do a good job. At the end of the day, what's the coach's responsibility? It's not the player's responsibility. Players are 18 and 19 and 20 years old. It's not the assistant coach's responsibility. That's why they're called assistant coaches. It's the head coach's job to get them back. And obviously I didn't do a good job. I mean, you do the best you can to go play that, and that emotional, I mean, that was a game changer when we beat Penn State. And Saquon Barkley and Trace McSorley and that whole group, and then to have that, to win the game, win it the way we won it, that was one of the greatest. Everybody rushed the field one of those days, and we didn't. And there's times I have done a good job, there's times I haven't. That was not one of those. And we had to go on the road, play a very tough Iowa in a tough environment, a night game, and we lost.
Do you remember if you anticipated maybe?
Oh, sure.
And how did you try to avoid?
Sure. I think, you know, and it goes back to the Lou Holtz-isms that I worked for him, is that when you win big games, that's when you coach them the hardest. That's when you got to get everything back. And we had a big saying, long live the brotherhood. And the videos, I remember the videos in the media and everybody, and I was like, my gosh, we're making this bigger than life. We won a game. We can talk about this in the offseason. Let's get this thing back. I saw it and felt it, but I just didn't do a good job. The way to do it is on practice field, not in a team meeting room, because you have to be so hard on the team and coaches to get them back and get them focused, to understand what's coming down the road.
Are you harder on a team in that situation than if you would have lost the game? Tell me the difference.
Yeah, this is a great coaching 101, and the normal responsibility is you lose a game and you just go destroy your team. You know, you're throwing chalkboards, breaking things, and all that. That's absolutely not the case, right. And that's something we have done a good job. Like you said, after the Iowa loss, you know, you go in there and that team is it depends what kind of team you have. You have good kids, which we do. You know, they're destroyed after the game, and I saw it. And Billy Price got up and said, we're still going to win the Big Ten. We're still going to get a ring. We came back and played probably our best game of the year against a very good Michigan State team. It was 41-3 or some ridiculous score. But you have to coach them much harder when you win. When you lose, they're fragile.
How long did it take you as a head coach to really have a good handle on that type of situation?
Working for Lou Holtz, you know, and I would often call him. And he would call me, and I would always rely on my mentors. And you know, hey, let's talk about this. I didn't talk to him that week after the Penn State win, and that was one of those moments that if I could, you know, that one will never leave my mind, that Iowa loss. But if you could do it again, Tuesday's practice would have probably been the hardest practice of the year.